Hey everyone, welcome to The New Populist. I'm Dave Brown and the co-author of the book, Black and White, How the Left is Destroying the Dream of Martin Luther King and Our Founding Fathers. You know, when I do interviews, I'm always asked, why I wrote the book. And I think it started back in 2011 with Trayvon Martin, and then I guess Michael Brown a year later. And that kind of all started the Black Lives Matter movement. And when you're a black guy, it's immediately assumed that you're a Democrat, that you support Black Lives Matter. And, you walk around every day, you're running into people, and they kind of, approach you as if you are on the left. And it gets frustrating. In the media, the only real voices for black people are scumbags like Jesse Jackson and Don Lemon and Al Sharpton. So you have these clowns that represent the community, and it's been bugging me for a very long time. I mean, those guys have been around for decades, not Don Lemon, but the others. And I'm always thinking to myself, of all the black people to represent black people, they pick these guys who are idiots. It's frustrating. And the left always says, black voices are marginalized. We want to give black people a microphone. So I'm like, okay, sure. I'm a black guy. Here's my opinion. I'm on the right. I don't agree with Black Lives Matter, etc. And the reaction is always, well, we want to hear from you, unless that's your opinion, in which case we don't want to hear from you. Which means their call for marginalized voices to be heard are really BS. It's all politics. So one of the ways that I thought I could fight back against the left and Black Lives Matter and this depiction of black people as being lockstep Democrats and supporters of Black Lives Matter was if I wrote a book. And in this book I talk about my own experience as a black man. My experience within the context of being part of a multiracial family, having a white mother, having a black immigrant father. So my co-author for this book is actually my mother, and we wanted to give our perspective coming from the right to sort of challenge that Black Lives Matter narrative. And there was actually a story recently that kind of shows why I wrote this book. Out of Oregon, where the governor signed a law that prevented any change in the standards for graduation. And in the state, you don't have to prove you can read and do math. So, you look at that, you go, how is that even possible? But what's worse is when they asked, why they did this, what kind of, the governor's office gave a statement. And the communications director says, well, I've talked to the leaders from the marginalized communities, and they thought it would be good if we have this in place, blah blah blah. And I'm going, who are these people? Who are these people advocating that it's good to have people of color graduating from high school not being able to read and write and do math? Like, if you wanted to suppress minorities and you had a platform to do that, it would be, hey, let's make sure black people can not read and write and still be given high school diplomas so they can go into the real world and fail. So the most racist things I see don't come from the right. They come from the left when they promote these, lower standards. And, we talk about Martin Luther King in this book. And his dream was to make things equal. Now, he recognized that because of segregation and slavery and the history of our country, that maybe black people needed a boost. And we had laws for that, the Civil Rights Act and other laws as far as, making sure black people could be employed and had fair opportunities. And the idea was not to drag down standards, but to push people up. And that's what it was supposed to be. If a group is struggling, sure, we can help them out. We can give them some more resources to boost them forward. But to drag down the average, the standard, that doesn't help anybody. That just hurts black people. And this is not just becoming, an anomaly. This is a commonplace thing now all across the country in different sectors of our life. It's, black people are given a lower standard for achievement. And if you're a person of color, you should be insulted by that. And I always give the example. Say you're at the airport, you're getting ready to fly, and you're sitting there, and oh, this guy walks in, he's a pilot. He sits down next to you. Oh, hey, how you doing? You start talking, and you ask him, hey, why'd you become a pilot? And then he goes, well, I wasn't always going to be a pilot, but they lowered the standards for being a pilot. You don't really have to understand maps or have good spatial awareness. So when they lowered those standards, I was able to get my wings. Oh, which flight are you on? Oh, that flight? Yeah, I'm the pilot. I'm flying there. What would you do? You freaking run. When you lower standards, you not just make it worse for the person involved, but everybody suffers when you lower standards and lower the bar for achievement. And the left doing this to black people is one of the most insulting things I've ever seen. And one last thing that kind of just capitalizes my point, there was that pamphlet from that museum where it said that being on time and working hard and being individualistic was aspects of whiteness, as if to imply that if you didn't have those characteristics, well, that you're not being white. If maybe you're a black person, you may not value being on time, or well, maybe that one's true, but you may not value working hard or being individualistic. So, and that person who wrote that pamphlet was a older white liberal. You know how insulting it is to have white liberals look at you as a black person and define who you are. It's one of the most insulting things I can think of, and it happens over and over and over again. Biden himself said it.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
How do they get away with this stuff? And it happens all the time. So black people, not just me, but all black people, we have to stop and think, what the hell are we listening to these people for who keep insulting us? They call us stupid. They insult us, yet we keep following them. I don't get it. And it drives me crazy. So that's it for today. I just wanted to talk about this few points and once again point out why I wrote this book. Hopefully we start to see a change soon. That's why I'm doing this. As it looks right now, things are pretty dicey with the coronavirus and the left is just going crazy. So that's it for today. Again, like and subscribe. Cheers.